Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the follow-up from Boruto Chapter 80. And today, I want to bring to your attention something that I initially believed was going to be a plot line that feels like it would have been a misdirect. But now that we've had recent events in the manga transpire, I want to circle back around to something that I initially discussed with you guys as a joke, which is Boruto capturing Ada's heart, and the thumbnail art probably is going to be something trolling of that fashion. Initially, when I discussed this following Ada's introduction, I did so because I knew it would piss off the Boruto and Sarada shippers or the Boruto and Sumire shippers, and around that time I was making videos laying out the argument for the different pairings that we had in Boruto. But since that video came out, we've had some changes transpire. It went from Ada saying Boruto is cute in Boruto chapter 57 to all of a sudden the manga dropping lines to have Ada consider changing her view on Boruto. I do think we need to discuss the potential of Ada falling for Boruto after the time skip and what the impact this will have on the story narratively. But just to be clear, I'm not shipping Boruto with Ada. That's not what I'm doing here, but I can see somebody misconstruing just because of the trollish nature of the thumbnail. So Shikamaru had told Boruto previously that if Kawaki were to fail to win over Ada because Kawaki's rather crude mannerisms and words would turn her off, if she ever got turned off by Kawaki, that it will be upon Boruto to have to capture her heart for the safety of the village. That's why I call the chapters that we got the horny house, because Ada was horny and Boruto was going to have to try and rizz up Ada if things went sideways. However, we then had Damon basically chop Boruto's self-esteem down by saying that Ada doesn't like your face in spite of her saying it was because of his age, but that goes against what her clearly had already said about Boruto in the past with him being cute in her opinion. However, in Boruto chapter 80, we saw Ada change her position on Boruto again because all of a sudden Boruto's acting more mature than his age, which is where I think we have to start taking a look at this. Ada asking Boruto is he sure he's only 12 right before a time skip and right before Boruto begins to stop acting like a little brat that he's been for a chunk of the manga. Though he has grown, he has still shown bratty tendencies. Right around the time that Ada's own attraction towards Kawaki can be questioned has me wondering, will Ada jump onto Boruto's harem now that Boruto's shown some maturation? I don't think that this is actually as crazy as this might sound. Ada in so many ways has made it clear that attraction for her isn't based solely off of looks. There are more things that someone can do to make themselves attractive to her. One of the first things we learn about Ada is that what initially drove her towards Kawaki wasn't that she thought he was just some attractive bad boy, but he offered her something that she hadn't felt in a long time, which was excitement via the experience that Kawaki provided for her. And I think that's very important. She described her heart as fluttering because it was thrilling to watch Kawaki outsmart Ishiki and eventually kill him. She called it thrilling. She said that she hadn't felt those emotions in a very long time. She's not too unlike some women that you have in the real world. The experiences and behaviors a guy provides to them can sway their opinion or their attraction to set a guy apart from the other guys that she's talking to, because you're likely not the only guy that she's talking to in those initial dating phases. Ada, with her Sharingan, sees everything with few exceptions, and she gets bored by what she sees most of the time. Kawaki offered her a thrill that she hadn't seen before, which sparked her initial attraction towards him, taking him from being just some cute guy to this is a cute guy who has her mentally stimulated. However, as we've seen in the last few chapters, Kawaki's behavioral shift has her viewing him in a different light. She's built up in her head based off of the moment where he tricked Ishiki. She's built up Kawaki as being this hot guy who is brave and speaks his mind and is super passionate about those who he cares for. She was moved enough by a strong passion for Naruto that she asked Code if they could even spare Naruto because she didn't want Kawaki to feel some kind of way about her. However, once he sealed away Naruto and began using his trickery in the form of lying about the situation to have everyone hunt down Boruto, it made her literally say that she was disgusted with Kawaki, calling him a coward at one point. For someone as fickle as Ada, attraction that can be built up in an instant, it can be broken just as quickly. And if Kawaki continues to view her as being an object meant to spy on those he's suspicious of, or is annoyed that she's not telling him where Boruto is, which is likely going to be the case since she promised Boruto that she wouldn't spy on him on behalf of Kawaki, Ada's attention is going to shift and watching Boruto, something I do believe the narrative setting up for us. It was hidden in two layers right in front of our faces. The first is with her sudden interest in Boruto when he showed more maturity, but it was also hidden in her warning that she won't use her Sharingan to tell Kawaki and Shikamaru where Boruto is unless he returns to Konoha. Ada at some point is going to check in on Boruto, and seeing him endure the struggles of being a rogue ninja, watching the way that he handles the things in front of him, and seeing Boruto age up might have her revisit the whole idea of Boruto Uzumaki to take him out of the concept was just a cute boy, but that she preferred Kawaki to actually having something of a spark towards Boruto. Losing an interest in one due to day-to-day interactions with Kawaki, seeing he's not exactly what she built up in her head, while gaining interest in the other due to watching Boruto with her Sharingan from afar and seeing him continue to mature and grow into his looks. Narratively, that causes quite a bit of a mess because it would have Kawaki in a position where he's lost his influence over Ada, and we see how quick-tempered Kawaki is when things don't go his way. That makes for quite the interesting interaction because you have the Damon factor to consider, given the fact that Damon will jump on Kawaki the moment he even raises his voice at Ada, which would pay off the line that we had in the pre-time skip chapter. Kawaki literally told Damon that he would kill him one day, and those words came right after Damon was being overprotective of his older sister Ada, potentially hinting that when Damon versus Kawaki takes place in the future, it might very well be because Kawaki threatened Ada, and having Kawaki defeat Damon will be a clear marker of how much stronger he's gotten as well. Just given right now Damon is currently the strongest character headed into the Boruto time skip, so that's a clear benchmark that will get surpassed. Now, Boruto is a sequel to Naruto, but it carries over some of the very things that we've come to expect from anything associated with the Naruto franchise. With a few exceptions, there's usually some redeeming factor for some of the villains slash antagonists. Boruto isn't much different in quite a few cases. Even with that raging bitch that Delta came across as in the early portions of the manga, there was a redeeming factor for, because we learned that Delta had 3 different bodies for a reason. She was a clone of Amato's dead daughter, and her personality isn't the same as her original Abiki. Amato was the Otsutsuki Wikipedia page and this morally corrupt scientist who was doing human experiments and experimenting on children like Kawaki against their will. But then we learned that he was a father grasping at every single straw, regardless as to how morally corrupt it was, in order to revive his daughter, where her clone would actually have her true soul in a living body, which is why something like Edo Tensei could not be used, because Edo Tensei at the end of the day are corpses that have the soul, but it's not a living body. Al was the mercenary who we got no explanation in the manga for how he joined Kara, one of my biggest pet peeves. We should not have to rely on the anime to explain that, but we at least saw him towards the end of his life revert back to being an honorable shinobi, which if we factor in the anime information on Al, we got to see him fall from grace, wallow in his despair, get corrupted, and eventually die as an honorable shinobi. Right now, Ada is at the point where she's not a villain, nor is she actually a hero's helper either. She's just there, but she's also being set up for something of a redemption as well. And so much of her character is centered around her emotions that I do think that we have to look at it from that scope as well, which will probably be something that a lot of people dislike, because that was part of the reason, not the entire reason, but that was part of the reason why back in the day you had people who disliked both Sakura and Hinata's characters, how they were handled in Naruto's manga. So much of their drive on a surface level came from the romantic interests in Sasuke and Naruto respectively. Again, that's a surface level reading of the manga for both characters, but that is something that was a major argument and a major dislike on how people felt Kishimoto did female characters. And if Ada's growth comes from her growing dislike of Kawaki has actually changed now that he's gotten what he's wanted, and her interest begins to start peaking in Boruto's maturation, it could lead to some of those same points that have people saying that this is a flat character arising. However, I do think there's enough here to actually make this work to where it doesn't feel forced, and most importantly, it doesn't feel cheesy. Again, I don't think we see Boruto and Ada as an end goal shipping. You guys know I personally don't care about pairings. The most investment I'll do is make every sign this character loves character A and B, and what if this character married this character, because it's something you guys enjoy. The analytics proves it, because the number of shares and the high retention rate of those videos tells me a different story than the comments. Shipping annoys some of you guys, but it's something a good number of you guys actually enjoy. However, I do think Ada warming up to Boruto isn't something we can actually rule out, and I do think that at some point Ada is gonna end up helping Boruto in a way that gets Kawaki's attention after the time skip, in particular because I think some of those same features that Ada found disgusting about Kawaki, they're about to be highlighted even further here, because he's basically like someone who just got a ton of money all at once. Money doesn't actually change people. it just highlights all the traits that are already there. Kawaki came into money symbolically by getting the life that he desired. Boruto was an outsider, and he was now the son of the 7th Hokage, and as a result, some of the worst personality traits are going to be highlighted, but so too could some of the redeeming qualities of Kawaki, and it becomes a question of, does the good outweigh the bad, which we have to consider just because we know at some point Kawaki appears to have destroyed the village, which leads to my question: do you guys think that Ada will continue to change her view on Boruto? And for giggles, who do you guys want Boruto to end up with? While you think that over, click here to watch my What If Sasuke Had Eternal Mangekyou Sharingan during the 5 Kage Summit video.